While everybody is incredibly familiar with the top tagline items, 8 new cars, 2 new tracks, a new data logger system, here is everything that you may have missed in the brand new Gran Turismo 7 Spec 3 update. If you're new to the channel, my name is Matt. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Fanatec affiliate link down below, and check out my merchandise store at aweo.com/store/Matt51Westby. Without further ado, here's everything that you may have missed in the brand new update. Last month, when the Gran Turismo World Series arrived in LA, it gave participants a preview look as to what the Spec 3 update was going to entail, particularly with the Yas Marina circuit. We quickly figured out that the circuit experience was going to utilize the brand new Ferrari 296 GT3 car. However, whether the circuit's Gilles Villeneuve was not ready yet, or if it was just being kind of kept under wraps to be kind of a surprise when Spec 3 finally was dropped, we didn't really have any information as to what events or the circuit experience was going to look like. Now that Spec 3 is finally here, we now know officially that the 2 events that have dropped with Circuit Gilles Villeneuve is going to be the Nissan GTR Cup and a Super Formula Cup, which appears to be kind of a slight nod to the F1 group utilizing that track in the early springtime, early summertime. However, we now know for a fact that the circuit experience is going to utilize the 2020 Mercedes-Benz AMG GT3 car. Kind of interesting. While we may be familiar with the new events being added to the new tracks, there are actually new events being added to some older tracks as well. For instance, Blue Moon Bay Speedway Infield A is getting a Japanese FF 450 challenge, apparently a subtle nod to saying that you should probably use the new Mitsubishi FTO. And then there's actually a brand new Goodwood Motor Circuit European Sunday Cup 400, again subtly nodding, saying that you should probably try out the new Fiat Panda for this track as well. Now, the new thing that has been added in this one that nobody has really talked about is certain new track variations. Now, it seems like with previous track variations, they would just drop it to everything for time trials, custom races, new challenges, what have you. But in this instance, the new format that has been added is actually a reverse layout of the Nürburgring Nordschleife. And versus being dropped to everything, it is only available in the time trial mode. Now, it's very interesting as to why that's the case. I get the feeling that maybe the AI haven't been tuned up yet and figured out how to actually drive the course in reverse yet. So, like I said, it is only available in the time trial mode. I imagine that at some point in the future, it will be released for custom races and for, having additional preset challenges. But for the time being, we'll just have to explore the Nürburgring in reverse in only the time trial format. And speaking of new layouts being added, this one has already been in the game, but now there is a new circuit experience for the reverse Eiger Nordwand utilizing the 2017 Alpine A110. While this may not be utilized by the vast majority of the player base, since there's a new update to Scapes as well. There's 4 new locations: the Yas Marina Circuit, the Gilles Villeneuve, the Mines Tuning Shop, which is actually a nod to the R34 Mines GTR being added, and then a new location called Additional Light Location, which seems to be an extension of the Panning location, which seems to be a hit with the community when it was added a couple updates ago. Since the release of Gran Turismo 7, one thing that I don't think has really been talked about much has been the mission challenges, a whole separate side of the game that seems like everybody completed at launch and it really hasn't touched on since. Again, mission challenges can be anything from a slipstream challenge where you're trying to reach the highest top speed and then pass everybody, and another one being a last to first race where you start at the back of the grid and you wait for the slower cars to start, and then you're given a track monster to see if you can catch up and pass them by the last lap. It's just, again, mission challenges just really haven't been in the conversation since release. I think Polyphony has understood that, and as a change to the weekly challenges, instead of being 5 predetermined, essentially spec races, it's now going to introduce a variety of challenges, i.e. some special mission challenges, as well as time trials. So instead of having these 5 really basic predetermined races that you just kind of, deal with the monotony of, you actually have a little bit of a variety in these weekly challenges as you grind your way to get the most amount of credits. With every new update comes a whole list of new engine swap upgrades and additions. Now, this list is, the word extensive does not do justice how many different cars have new engine swaps, so please go check out the full list. It's crazy. But the two cars I'm going to be discussing here today is the F3500A, which isn't a new car, but also the F3500B. Now, the F3500A has a V12 engine that is standard, but it also has a V8 and a V10 option for swap. The brand new F3500B is a V8 option that is standard that has the option for a V10 and a V12 additionally for swaps. Long story short is if you're very interested in the F1 era of 94 all the way back to 89, just kind of in that area, so like the era that sent Alan Prost and Michael Schumacher early ages, we can effectively recreate the full grid with accurate engines if you so desire. So it's a lot of money to do so, but it's going to be really cool for custom races because you can change out everybody's names and actually make it, you know, those people, you know? So that's kind of cool. Following in the footsteps of the weekly challenges where they changed to have a more wider variety of events for players that are playing on a more frequent basis, the cafe system also has a brand new seasonal menu book. So following with the extra menu books, instead of just waiting for certain cars to show up in the Legends dealership, there's now a limited time selection of menu books that, depending on the cars that are available at a certain given time, you can actually have a rotating menu book that you have to keep your eye and ears on to collect all the cars that are available at that time. So this, in my mind, I'm actually really excited for because, you know, when you get to a certain point, you have most, if not all, of the cars. So having this additional spot where you can get some more rewards based on the cars that are available, I think it's kind of nice, personally. It was previously hinted that the online multiplayer system was going to have a couple of changes. A lot of players took that as a change coming to the daily races, or maybe even the penalty system. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't true. What came to be true is a change coming to the custom lobbies. So originally there would be the options for friends only or public, but now there's a private room option, or if you have a particular room ID, you can just get into it that way. I feel like that's actually a really nice option for individuals who are running events, or, you know, where you're supposed to have a very, you know, again, private room where only a select number of players are supposed to come, instead of having to make sure that everybody is friends with the host or something of that kind of nature. Just having that room ID is really valuable in my mind. A couple of other changes that honestly I am super excited for is the fact that there is now a disabled slipstream option, which is fine, but what I'm really excited for is the idea that you now have required tires, a required tire change, and a mandatory pit stop option. So for those who want to run racing softs and end on racing mediums, or you want to have a number of minimum pit stops, this really adds a new dimension to online races, as well as additional options for having a particular model year available for low end and high end, so like a range of only certain classic cars. And now there's also options for specific drivetrains and certain vehicle aspirations. Again, these additional options to custom races, in my mind, are a very well-deserved change and make online custom races so much more interesting than what they were previously. Last but not least, some of the higher-end Fanatec wheelbases, i.e. the Club Sport DD and the Club Sport DD Plus Extreme, now have additional features. The widely long-awaited full force function is now here. So primarily some of the interesting things coming about it is that there's added simulated friction, and as well as feeling more realistic as far as even the ability to feel the engine RPMs through the wheelbase. So there's going to be a lot of new changes. Please read up on Full Force about all the additional features and all the additional use cases. I know that it's been long awaited for a very long time, so some of those higher-end Fanatec users can finally utilize this feature that's been widely reported for quite some long time. And there you have it. That is everything that you may have missed in the brand new Gran Turismo 7 Spec 3 update. Of course, if you enjoy this content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my Fanatec affiliate link down in the description below, and check out my merchandise store at oeo.com/store/Matt51Westby. Of course, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'm going to get back to playing this brand new update. I'm really excited. Feels like Christmas morning all over again. So again, thanks so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day. Bye!